Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be sharing some really beautiful, bright recipes with you. These are all perfect for this time of year. I love a good colorful meal. I hope you stick around to the end of this video. I have my signature fruit pizza in this video. Everyone loves when I make this fruit pizza. It's absolutely delicious. Let's go ahead and get started. To kick this video off, we are going to be making this delicious cowboy chicken and rice. I'm starting by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Over to my skillet, I melted a little bit of butter and some olive oil, and I cut 2 chicken breasts in half so you will have 4 pieces of chicken. I'm just using this Italian seasoning packet to lightly season my chicken for now. I cooked this chicken for a few minutes on each side just to make sure that there was some good color to it. If it's not cooked all the way through, don't worry about that. We are going to be putting it in the oven. After each piece of chicken has been browned up, go ahead and put that in a 9x13 baking dish, and then over into the exact same pan, I'm adding in half of a red bell pepper that I chopped up, as well as about 1/4 of a red onion. My red onion was very large, so this was a decent amount of red onion. I'm just going to cook these in here for about 5 minutes to help them get a little bit tender. After 5 minutes, I'm adding in about a tablespoon of minced garlic. I'm going to let this cook for about another minute so that garlic becomes fragrant. Into a bowl, I have half a can of black-eyed peas. I did rinse and drain those, as well as half a can of black beans that have been drained and rinsed. 1 can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes. Half a can of drained corn, and then I'm also adding in the red onion and bell pepper garlic mixture. Go ahead and dump in the rest of your Italian seasoning packet, as well as about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, and give this a really good mix together. Once that's combined very well, go ahead and pour it right over top of your chicken. Make sure to spread it all around the chicken, make sure everything is covered up, and then this is going into the oven to bake for about 40 minutes or until your chicken has hit 165 degrees. If you're wondering what I do with the other halves of these canned items, I just put them in a container and I use them in something else, usually like a burrito bowl or something like that. After 40 minutes, I did go ahead and pull that out of the oven, and now I'm adding on some jalapenos. These are just jarred jalapenos. Spread those all across the top. If you don't like jalapenos, then don't add these. On top of everything, I'm adding about 1 cup of shredded Mexican style cheese, and then this is going to go back in the oven for an additional 10 minutes until the cheese has nicely melted. This is what my finished plate looked like. I did cut up a lime and squeeze that over the top with a little bit of white rice that had some cilantro in it. And this is a really interesting dinner. You would expect it to have taco seasoning or something like that in it, but the Italian seasoning really adds a different flavor to this, and I love it with all these ingredients. Up next, we're making some veggie skewers that you can cook outside on the grill, or if you really need to, you can cook these in your air fryer as well. First off, I'm going to begin by cutting up 1 orange bell pepper and 1 green bell pepper. You'll want to cut these up so that they are in bigger pieces so that they fit on the skewers. Next, I'm cutting up 1 zucchini. I am going to peel this in stripes. It'll just add more texture and color, and then cut it into coins. Same with the yellow squash. I'm going to go ahead and peel that and cut it into coins as well, along with some red peppers I had in the fridge. I wasn't going to use these, but I figured I might as well use them up. And I also cut up some red onion into nice big pieces, and I had some mushrooms. Once everything is all cut up, you can go ahead and start adding them onto your skewers. My husband has these metal ones for the grill, so I went ahead and used those. They're pretty big. I just went ahead and started adding everything on there. No certain order, just rotating between which ones I'm adding on until the skewer was all the way filled. You can personalize these any way you want to. This one is for my husband specifically, and I did not put any zucchini or yellow squash on it. You can see the difference between mine and his. He does not like squash, so I went ahead and just left that off. Now, of course, we have to add some really good flavoring to these, so I melted 1 stick of unsalted butter, but you could also use salted butter too. A 1/4 cup of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of my favorite Parmesan ranch seasoning, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt since my Parmesan ranch seasoning has some salt in it as well, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of parsley, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and then give that a really good mix to combine all the seasonings with the butter. Now, this is basically like a seasoning mixture that you would put on garlic bread plus the Parmesan ranch seasoning. I'm going to go ahead and paint this onto both sides of my skewers pretty heavily, and then the rest of it we're going to save, and my husband's actually going to add that on while he's grilling. My husband cooked these on the grill for me, and he cooked them over a high heat for about 2 to 3 minutes per side, and then transferred them over to a lower heat on the other side of the grill for another 4 to 5 minutes. That way my zucchini and my squash could get nice and tender. And as you can see, he went ahead and just added that garlic butter mixture a couple times during the grilling process. Here's what my plate looked like for dinner. I went ahead and just served these little veggie skewers with some pork chops. I can link that video below for you. It was a super simple marinade. And then I also made a bag of Knorr stroganoff just because I was trying to use it up. It was close dated, but this was tonight's meal. Everyone loves when I make my fruit pizza, and today I'm going to share it with you just in time for summer. For the icing on my fruit pizza, I actually make my grandma's fruit dip, and this is what makes this fruit pizza so delicious. I'm adding 1 block of softened cream cheese into my mixing bowl, along with a 13-ounce container of marshmallow fluff. That marshmallow fluff can be really hard to get out of the container, but you need to make sure you get as much as you can out of there. Go ahead and mix this together until it's nice and smooth. Make sure you scrape the bottom to get everything off the bottom of the mixing bowl as well. Next, you'll add in 1 tablespoon of strawberry jello mix. You can use more than 1 tablespoon if you want the flavor to be a little stronger, but honestly, I think 1 tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half is perfect. Get that mixed together really well. Remember to scrape the bottom and get everything well combined, and then this needs to sit in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. Now we are going to make the crust for the pizza. I preheated my oven to 375 degrees. Into my mixing bowl, I'm adding 3/4 cup of sugar and 1 stick of unsalted softened butter. Now into a separate bowl, I'm adding 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Once you get all that in your bowl, go ahead and mix that together. Back over to our sugar and butter mixture, I'm adding in 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Go ahead and get that combined, and then you're slowly going to start adding in your flour mixture. Once that's all come together and you've scraped the bottom to make sure nothing was stuck in the bottom or onto the sides, you can go ahead and take your sugar cookie dough, basically that's what this is, over to your lined baking sheet. I like to line my baking sheet with parchment paper instead of spraying it with oil for this recipe. And also this makes it really easy to get it off of this pan and transfer it over to another serving dish or onto your countertop, whatever you need to do. You want to make sure your crust is about 1/4 of an inch thick before it goes in the oven, and once you put it in the oven, it's going to bake for about 10 to 12 minutes until you start seeing this golden color appear in the center. You definitely do not want to overcook this crust, so make sure you're paying attention. At this point, I let my crust cool completely. You do not want to put this icing on top of a warm crust, so make sure you give it time to completely come to a cooler temperature. When you add your icing on, you want to make sure you leave a little bit of edging around the sides. That way you have a crust. And I'm going to tell you now, you're going to have extra of this icing. That's totally fine. This is a fruit dip recipe, so you can use any of your extra fruit and just eat that up. It's so good. And now for the fun part, you can personalize this fruit pizza however you want to. I went ahead and added some strawberry slices around the edge. Next, I added some kiwi slices, more strawberries in the center. I like to go in with my bigger pieces of fruit first and then with the smaller ones. So now I'm going in with my blueberries and my raspberries, and you can decorate this fruit pizza however you want. If you're not serving this right away, it's best to keep it in the refrigerator until it's time to eat. But look how gorgeous this is. Everybody loves when I make this fruit pizza. It is absolutely delicious, especially with my grandma's fruit dip on top. It took me a while to find the perfect crust for this, but I have to say this one is perfect. I would never change this recipe. Everybody loves it when I make it, and I'm telling you right now, it is a crowd pleaser. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you make any of these recipes and you are on Instagram, I would love for you to tag me in anything you make and show me how it turned out. Don't forget to leave me a flower down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on Sunday.